Hey, this is Rick Brandenburg for Turf Bugs and Rock and Roll, and I get a lot of questions about why products don't necessarily perform as well as the users expect them, and I understand why I get those questions because I test and evaluate these products and I make a lot of recommendations about their use. But it seems like the last couple of years I've gotten a lot more questions about products that historically have worked very, very well, and they just don't seem to be working as well anymore. So I get a lot of questions about whether or not the insects are becoming resistant to it, or there's something that the populations have changed, or environmental conditions, or whatever. And a lot of people just seem to feel like that some of the standard products they've used for many, many years don't seem to be working as well anymore. So I get the question a lot, and people want an answer for it. They spend a lot of money on these products, they've had good success in the past, and they don't seem to be performing as well. And this includes products like Top Choice that have been used for many, many years for mole cricket and fire ant control, products like Acelyrin that have historically provided long-term protection against caterpillars, products like Merit, Arena, Aloft, Meridian, all these products that we use for white grubs. People say, hey Rick, I used it and I just don't feel like it performed as well as it should. Is this something real, or is it just my imagination? Do I need to rotate products or whatever? And I don't think there's any one single answer to this. There can be a lot of reasons why a product doesn't work as well. One can be the specific weather conditions that we had that year. And in 2018, for example, in eastern North Carolina, from August through early October, we had almost 4 feet of rain due to just heavy thunderstorms and then a couple of tropical storms and hurricanes that came through. Well, no product's going to work the way it was intended when you have weather extremes of that nature. Other things that can happen, and I think this happens more commonly when we realize that so many of these products have worked so well for so many years that we start to really push the populations towards having a slightly different timing for their egg laying or their development. And as a result, a timing that has worked historically very, very well for us is no longer the optimal time because the populations have shifted a little bit over time because we basically selected for either earlier or later, and our timing gets to be a little bit off, and we need to figure out how we can adjust that to get the product to perform as well as it has in the past. I think in some situations where we use products for 10, 15, 20 years or more, which is true for many of these products, we get some changes in the soil and the microfauna, and the product doesn't persist or doesn't work quite as well. And that's a possibility. It's not a well-known thing that happens as far as commonly happens like it used to back in the old days when we had enhanced microbial degradation, but it certainly can have a little bit of a suppressant effect. We know that with some products, historically, they never performed well in certain locations, in certain sites, for whatever reasons, the soil type, the microflora, and a number of reasons it can be, but sometimes they never performed well in sites, and perhaps the change over time has happened to some other locations, and the products just don't seem to perform as well. And another question is resistance an issue? And I really don't think with most of these it is. I mean, the issues we have with resistance, for example, are with Annual bluegrass weevils in the northeast United States, with southern chinch bugs and parts of Florida. But resistance has not been a big issue, and I really don't believe it is now in most cases with these products we use. Certainly we could over time have selected for a little hardier individual or population, but I don't think that's a major factor. So I think there are a lot of things that are possible. This answer may seem rather rambling and confusing, but I think it could be multiple factors: unusual environmental conditions, higher than normal populations due to optimal conditions for the pest, slight shifts in the population as far as their timing and egg laying, some microbial degradation, slight levels of resistance to being developed. But overall, even though I get more calls and requests for why these products don't seem to be working quite as well, I don't think we have any serious issues out there. And if you continue to see that over 2 or 3 years, maybe it is time for you to rotate a different product into the program that you've been using, and give the one you've been using for years and years and years a little bit of a break, and rotate and then start back over again. But I just don't think, based on all the calls and emails I get, that it really is an issue that these products are not performing as well. They've historically performed incredibly well for us, and every now and then we get a breakthrough and they don't do quite as well as we'd like, and we think that the sky's falling. Just don't think that's the case. So I hope my rambling made a little bit of sense. We've got very good products that we use today. They work well. Sometimes we need to tweak our timing a little bit. Sometimes we need to maybe rotate another product in or out. But for the most part, our good products that we've used for years still are working very, very well. Hope that helps. Look forward to seeing you again soon.